take my advice. If you go shopping for a new boyfriend, do not take your best girlfriends along for moral support.
We've all busted our asses and turned ourselves into the most intelligent, capable, fascinating, and sexy women the world has ever known, right? Well, somebody's gonna make sure our best friends don't settle for a guy less than they deserve.
Not settling for less. Long live the new women's movement.
Take the other night. I was in a bar, in a booth with them, just when a cute guy came by and said, "Hi, my name is Brad and I'd like to."
I said, driver's license.
And before he could take his hand back, I grabbed it and said, well, at least this one doesn't have an indentation from a wedding ring.
See what I mean? Of course I was embarrassed. I said, "Do you really have to do this again? This one looks normal."
And I said, if anyone should know that looks can be deceiving, it's you, Heather.
Right. We're your best friends. We're here to make sure that you never spend another night sobbing on the phone to both of us about yet another year of your life wasted on some jerk.
Anyway, Carmela put Brad's driver's license between them, and they both whipped out their iPads and started typing away. So anyway, I offered Brad a seat, and he pulled himself together, and he asked me what kind of music I was into. And guess what? This had never happened before. We both had the same music on our iPods. But then,
Well, the good news is that this picture in his high school yearbook does match the photo on his driver's license, so this one isn't using a phony name.
The bad news is that because of his outstanding student loans, his credit score sucks and he drives an 11-year-old beater.
The good news is that this one has no outstanding warrants and is not a registered sex offender.
But the bad news is that the pics on his Facebook page show that he doesn't go to any interesting places or do any interesting things.
see what I mean? So anyway, Brad just sat there horrified for a second. But instead of bolting out like I thought he would, he pulled himself together. And he asked me what I like to do for fun. And guess what? It happened again. We were so flabbergasted that we liked doing the same things. We practically hugged. But then,
The good news is that his address books on both his computers at work and at home aren't full of other women's numbers.
The bad news is that according to his family history, he will be bald and 50 pounds heavier in 15 years.
The good news is that the histories on his internet browsers show that he's not a regular on any of the porn sites. Although he did check out celebritybeavershots.com.
Ew. The bad news is that a survey of 100,000 wives ranked the men in his profession the least likely to grab them and make mad, passionate love when they come through the door from work.
so anyway, Brad just sat there, confused and dazed, staring off into the space, and how can you blame him? Still, he pulled himself together and asked me which Chicago sports team I was into. And guess what? We were both Cubs fanatics. Now, nothing can ruin a relationship faster than an incompatibility in this area. But we were both Cubs fanatics, and he had lost $300 to Sox fans who told him to put his money where his mouth was. And I lost $250. But then,
Well, the good news is that he did get a 138 at IQtest.com.
The bad news is, on the question of how likely he is to go on to do bigger and better things, the women in his office only gave him 1.5 stars.
The good news is that his Amazon book purchases do show that he's serious about relationships. And so far, he's only spent 17% of his time staring at her boobs.
But the ex-girlfriend database shows that the average length of his relationships are only 3.5 months. And he's never gone down on any of his past girlfriends.
and with that, Carmela threw Brad's driver's license back to him, and they both shoot him away.
Now here's the best part, ladies. For all of you out there who keep getting the same phone calls in the middle of the night, like we do from Heather, hundreds and thousands of us have already created a database that will have a file on every man in America.
Show of hands. Anyone here want to lead the effort to organize the women in your neighborhood or at your place of work to collect all the info we just laid out?